that the rain came in through this very roof. And to watch the brutal replay on the daily news is to bear witness to the beheading of this neighborhood's youth. Down at the pirate bar in the corner, everybody's talking about the pillage and the plunder. Preoccupied with preventing a predictable terrorist attack, they blatantly lost sight of the fact that most of their children live smack dab in the paths of earthquakes and hurricanes. A natural disaster less natural than man-made. Neglect was the crime perpetuated, the punishment death by drowning, the heaviest lifting and allowing a rebuilding of homes and roads and parks made for children's laughter, re-entry and recovery without repair of the blowout preventer, just sitting there. Oh, how the irony drips with an oily substance that they should lecture big oil companies so earnestly on preparedness, which is no longer a matter of prudence, but one of common sense. Because the local communities are exhausted of all of their resources. Like a single young mother, 3 young kids she probably should have aborted, but couldn't because this country makes nearly all legal processes impossible with the glaring exception of the death penalty. I mean, if you're going to infringe on my fundamental right to choose, then you had better show up with condoms in the cafeteria of my high school, is all I'm saying. And she loves all of her children. As any mother does, it's just she can't figure out how to feed any of them. And Mother Nature must be so righteously peeved, and not just that BP, because for years we held back the mighty Mississippi so that we could navigate those waters a wee bit more easily. Now all of that silt is deposited into the spending account of the Gulf, along with runoff from the cornfields, the golf courses, sewage plant, the parking lot, and then discarded with remnants of an atomic bomb. So this image of a pipeline snaking along the seabed floor is nothing more than an apropos photo op. And the war that we wage has countless casualties. The turtles, the dolphins, the gators, the birds, none of them on the surface but buried below due to dispersants in an oily coat. And what remains of the swampland but a heartbreaking moan. If I was a hippie, I'd go on down there and press my ear to the cypress tree's dying trunk, and then I hear its plea in my gut. A haunting underwater grave far away from the stomping grounds of the Ground Zero Mosque, which isn't really a mosque at all, so much as it is a fear-mongering cattle call, strategically, irreverently purported to be put up 1 block from the hollow ground that is the New York Dolls Gentlemen's Club. Which is why, 5 years to the day that the government forgot about it, the citizens of New Orleans erected a beautiful little monument fashioned out of compost, dirt, and empty bottles of beer with a sign that reads, "Baby, you can put the mosque right here." It's true, I didn't make that shit up. I even took a picture of it and I put it up on Facebook. And they say a great man can't make a great president. That seems to be true. But I am tired of having to choose between the lesser of who cares while Glenn Beck and Pollyanna rally the troops on the lawn right there with signs disorganized, spawning racial epitaphs, no matter how many times they try and convince you that the Democrats planted that shit whilst purporting to carry the cross of Dr. Martin Luther King, as if his dream was just a dove's broken wing. It's 47 years ago to the day, like his mission was a fucked up relay race, a distorted little game in the same vein of the cons in Kansas who refer to bloody Kansas as carrying out the will of God by killing abortionists, unaware of its liberal history of incessantly killing non-abolitionists as they cross over the Missouri border with their slaves. It's a freedom-loving state whose founders were farmers and, wait for it, socialists, union activists, populists without a party, hell-bent on creating a country where the children could fairly work and freely play thanks to the government intervention of the New Deal's NLRA. And then blindsided by politicians hungry for power, say, in the King's line of Kanye, I don't give a shit how much you make, how much pussy you get, how you paved the way for cats today to make more money than is necessary to ever have to work your way through anything another day, while the factory towns along the Great Lakes, which gave birth to your upbringing, are fastly disappearing. Motown, ghost town, there where billionaires flew the coop, where billions of tons of sewage waste spew from points around Detroit to the natural collecting point, and then it hits the fan. How about you rap about that? It was 5 years ago to the day you screamed into a megaphone, and rightfully so, that George W. Bush doesn't care about black folks. But then, that's all you wrote. And the rain is still coming. On this haunting anniversary, appropriately commemorated with an obscene amount of voodoo and booze, and then the unmistakable sound of the second line parade. Slowly coming this way, 5 years to the day, past the grave of the stranger left to rot in the sun and then buried in a junkyard by some good Samaritan. Here comes the unnerving rhythm of the big bass drum, the trombone, the trumpet, and the stomping feet, because everybody's taken to the streets, having nothing better to attend to today. 5 years to the day, everybody in the rain singing, some glad morning when this life is over, I will fly